Welcome to our immigration briefing program. Today, we have a mix of intense stories and political updates to share with you. First up, a heartbreaking incident in Virginia where Josué Castro Rivera, a 24-year-old Honduran man fleeing immigration agents, was tragically hit and killed by a vehicle while trying to escape on the highway. His attempt to avoid arrest ended in tragedy, sparking protests and renewed calls for investigation into immigration enforcement practices. Next, in political news, California Governor Gavin Newsom has hinted that he might run for president in 2028, after the 2026 midterm elections. Known for his sharp social media style and vocal stance on national issues, Newsom seems to be positioning himself as a future contender, especially as he continues to challenge former President Trump and build his national profile. Finally, in the UK, protests erupted in Southampton where rival groups demonstrated over immigration issues. Police had to block a main road to keep anti-immigration protesters and counter-demonstrators apart, managing a tense but peaceful event that involved hundreds of participants. The scene was chaotic but ultimately under control, highlighting ongoing debates around immigration policies and community tensions. Please continue to watch for more detailed stories and updates. The Associated Press reports a tragic incident in Virginia where Josué Castro Rivera, a 24-year-old Honduran immigrant, was fatally struck by a vehicle while fleeing immigration enforcement officers. Rivera was attempting to escape after his car was pulled over by ICE agents, who were conducting a targeted operation on suspicion of illegal residence. As he tried to cross Interstate 264, Rivera was hit by a passing Ford pickup, leading to his death at the scene. His brother, Henry, mourned him as a good-hearted individual working to support his family back in Honduras. The authorities indicated Rivera resisted arrest and fled, but his family and community see his death as unjust, sparking protests and calls for investigation amid broader concerns about the aggressive nature of immigration enforcement under the Trump administration, which has seen similar fatal incidents in Chicago and California, further fueling debates on immigration policies and their human cost. The Associated Press also highlights California Governor Gavin Newsom's political ambitions, revealing his plans to consider a presidential run in 2028 after the 2026 midterms. Known for his outspoken opposition to Donald Trump, Newsom has been actively raising his national profile through a bold, social media-savvy approach that echoes Trump's style, including memes, merchandise, and provocative statements. His political maneuvering includes battling over redistricting and immigration policies, positioning himself as a centrist with a keen eye on future leadership. The ongoing feud with Trump remains intense, with Newsom criticizing the former president's influence and calling him an invasive species, while also engaging in efforts to build a broader political platform through a podcast featuring diverse voices, from conservatives to Democrats, signaling his ambitions for a future presidential bid. Meanwhile, the BBC reports tense clashes in Southampton where rival protests over immigration unfolded, sharply disrupting the city's streets. Hundreds of anti-immigration demonstrators, waving flags and chanting, faced off against counter-protesters advocating anti-racism. Police sealed off key roads and deployed additional forces from neighboring counties to keep the groups apart, resulting in a significant police presence and resource expenditure, over £100,000 in August alone. Despite the chaos and minor disturbances, authorities successfully maintained order, with no reported injuries. The protests reflect the deep divisions surrounding immigration debates in the UK, with authorities emphasizing the importance of peaceful demonstration while managing the logistical challenges posed by such contentious events. The Toronto Star reports that Montreal, My Beautiful, has secured the top prize at the Windsor International Film Festival, a significant achievement for the Montreal-based director Xiaodan He. The film, featuring Joan Chen as a Chinese immigrant navigating her identity and desires in Montreal, was lauded by a jury for its fresh and timeless love story that defies conventional stereotypes related to race, gender, and immigration. Winning this award not only grants Xiaodan He a $25,000 cash prize but also highlights the film's compelling exploration of self-discovery and liberation within the multicultural fabric of Canadian society. The Globe and Mail delves into the curious political alliance forming between Alberta and Quebec, two provinces with starkly contrasting identities and economic backgrounds, now united by populist grievances. Alberta's Premier Danielle Smith champions increased autonomy, pushing for provincial control over police, pensions, and immigration, echoing Quebec's historic push for self-governance. Despite their differences, Alberta's resource-driven, conservative stance versus Quebec's cultural preservation and high-tax policies, the two provinces are forging a rebellious bond, criticizing Ottawa's perceived favoritism and pushing for constitutional reforms. This alliance, dubbed K-Berta, symbolizes a broader Western frustration with federal authority and a desire for more provincial independence, even as their political goals and cultural identities remain distinct. The Associated Press reports on a troubling incident in London, where the police mistakenly released a convicted asylum seeker, Hadush Gebrselassie Kabatu, who had been sentenced for serious crimes including sexual assault. Kabatu's unintended release sparked protests and anti-migrant sentiments across the UK, with thousands rallying outside the hotel housing him and other migrants. The error, caused by misclassification, has led to an investigation and the removal of a prison officer from duty. This incident underscores the ongoing tensions surrounding immigration and migrant policies in the UK, illustrating the challenges and repercussions of systemic errors in managing vulnerable populations amid heightened public concern and politicized debates. The CBC reports on the United States expanding its facial biometric program to photograph Canadian travelers at all land borders, airports, and seaports, a move that has raised privacy concerns. Warren Schiepel, a Canadian psychologist, shared his unsettling experience of being photographed without explanation at Cleveland Airport before boarding a flight to Toronto. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, has been using facial biometrics for years at airports to verify identities, but now aims to extend this to all modes of entry and exit, including land borders, where travelers may not even be aware they are being photographed. The program, mandated by Congress, involves storing travelers' images for up to 75 years, sparking fears about misuse and surveillance, especially given the lack of comprehensive federal privacy laws in the U.S. Critics worry that this infrastructure could be exploited for purposes beyond security, citing past instances where personal data was used for deportation or other enforcement actions. Despite assurances from CBP about privacy safeguards, travelers like Schiepel feel betrayed by the lack of transparency, leading some to reconsider their travel plans and question the future of privacy in border security procedures. The Yahoo US article details the detention of approximately 25 undocumented immigrants in Northern California after they responded to ICE summons for routine check-ins at a Stockton office. Advocates describe the situation as a violation of legal rights, with ICE agents allegedly barring attorneys from meeting clients and detaining individuals who are already under supervision through programs like Alternatives to Detention. These actions come amid heightened federal immigration enforcement under President Trump's administration, which has ramped up deportations targeting supposed criminal illegal aliens, though data shows most detainees have no criminal convictions. The protests and legal challenges highlight the controversial tactics employed by ICE, which, despite claims of focusing on dangerous offenders, often detains individuals for minor violations. The community's fear is exacerbated by the sudden shift in routine procedures, such as weekend check-ins, which appear to serve broader enforcement goals, fostering an environment of intimidation and uncertainty among immigrant populations. The Independent reports on MGMT's public disapproval of the Department of Homeland Security's use of their song, Little Dark Age, in a propaganda video. The DHS had shared a video showing federal agents arresting protesters outside an ICE facility, captioned End of the Dark Age, Beginning of the Golden Age, which featured the band's music without permission. MGMT issued a takedown request, condemning the unauthorized use of their work, especially in a context that they felt misrepresented their message and supported a political narrative they oppose. The incident underscores the broader issue of artists' rights being violated when their music is appropriated for political or governmental purposes, often without consent. The song's association with anti-Trump sentiments and its subsequent misuse by far-right groups further complicate its symbolic meaning, illustrating how cultural works can be co-opted for political agendas, prompting artists and fans alike to push back against such exploitation. The Chicago Tribune vividly reports a tense and chaotic scene on Chicago's North Side, where federal agents launched Operation Midway Blitz, leading to the detention of multiple individuals amidst the deployment of tear gas. In Old Irving Park, Luis Villegas, a 35-year-old construction worker, was chased and arrested in front of his home while working on a project, with neighbors rushing to his aid as the gas clouded the streets, disrupting a neighborhood Halloween parade. The community's outrage is palpable, with residents condemning the aggressive tactics and fearing the impact on their families and traditions, especially as a teenager expressed guilt over his brother's arrest. City leaders have condemned these actions, emphasizing the importance of legal accountability, while federal authorities justified their use of crowd control measures, citing threats from agitators and the need to protect law enforcement amid a surge in assaults. The Independent details a tragic incident in Virginia, where a man fleeing immigration enforcement was fatally struck by a vehicle on a busy highway. Josué Castro Rivera, a 24-year-old Honduran immigrant, was involved in a targeted ICE operation when he resisted arrest and ran onto Interstate 254, ultimately dying after being hit by a pickup truck. This event underscores a disturbing pattern of deaths involving immigrants attempting to evade federal agents, with similar cases emerging in California. The report highlights the aggressive tactics employed by ICE, including masked agents and raid-style operations in public spaces, which have sparked lawsuits and protests. The year 2025 has seen the deadliest period in decades for immigration detention, with over 20 deaths, as authorities seek to expand their workforce and intensify enforcement amidst accusations of brutality and excessive use of force. Yahoo US reports a significant development in Ohio, where the Claremont County Sheriff's Office has been authorized to make ICE arrests, marking a notable shift toward cooperation with federal immigration authorities. Sheriff Christopher Stratton signed a memorandum allowing specially trained deputies to arrest and transport individuals on ICE warrants, with the sheriff's office already transferring inmates to federal custody. This move aligns with the Butler County Sheriff's Office, which has a financially lucrative relationship with ICE, receiving increased funding per detainee. The collaboration has ignited controversy, with legal challenges and concerns over the implications of local law enforcement participating directly in immigration enforcement, raising questions about the balance of local authority and federal immigration policies. Associated Press reports a compelling story of justice and compassion in Chicago, where a federal judge has declared the immigration detention of Ruben Torres Maldonado illegal. Torres, a hardworking painter and father of 2 U.S. citizen children, was detained at a local Home Depot amidst an aggressive immigration crackdown. His 16-year-old daughter, Ophelia, is battling a rare and aggressive cancer, and her urgent need for ongoing treatment has highlighted the human toll of immigration enforcement. Despite the Department of Homeland Security's claims of illegal residence and a criminal history, the judge recognized the detention as a violation of due process and ordered a bond hearing, offering a glimmer of hope for the family. The case has sparked protests and political debates, emphasizing the emotional and moral complexities surrounding immigration policies, especially when vulnerable families are involved. The Independent covers the UK's online gambling scene, focusing on Great Britain Casino's enticing welcome bonus that offers new players a 100% deposit match up to £200. This promotion, which requires a minimum deposit of £10 and comes with a 65x wagering requirement, exemplifies the typical marketing tactics used by online casinos to attract new customers. The article guides players through the straightforward process of claiming the bonus, emphasizing the importance of understanding the terms and conditions, including the bonus's limited validity of 7 days and maximum winnings cap of £250. Beyond the initial offer, the casino also promotes a variety of ongoing promotions like daily spins and cash giveaways, appealing to both casual and seasoned gamblers. The piece underscores the importance of responsible gambling, reminding players to set limits and seek help if needed, highlighting the balance between entertainment and caution in the world of online betting. South China Morning Post reports a historic and somewhat controversial election in Ireland, where left-wing independent Catherine Connolly is poised to become the country's new president after her rival concedes defeat. The election was marred by unprecedented levels of spoiled ballots and low voter turnout, reflecting widespread dissatisfaction with the limited choices and pressing issues such as immigration and crime. Connolly, a vocal critic of both the EU and US policies, represents a shift toward more radical political ideas, emphasizing social justice, housing, and anti-establishment sentiments. Her victory signals a potential challenge to Ireland's traditionally ceremonial presidency, possibly leading to increased friction with the government and a more polarized political landscape. The election also exposed deep frustrations among voters, many of whom felt unrepresented by the candidates, and highlighted ongoing debates about immigration and national identity, with Connolly's progressive stance resonating with those seeking change amidst a backdrop of political discontent. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.